Billie Holiday has one of the most distinctive voices of all time. She inspired many artists, Frank Sinatra, Nina Simone, Janis Joplin and Andra Day, to name a few. But why is she still relevant, still over 60 years after her death? What makes Billie Holiday so great? The first clip we're going to listen to is Riffin' the Scotch, her first hit with the Benny Goodman Orchestra when she was just 17 years old.
I jumped out of the frying pan and right into the fire when I lost me a cheating man and got a no-count lie.
She sounds so different here to her later records. She has a brightness to her tone that you get with younger voices, yet she doesn't sound like a 17-year-old. Billie had already had a very traumatic life by this point, and she has a depth to her voice that defies her age. One of Billie's favourite singers was Bessie Smith, a powerful blues singer with a big, heavy tone.
I swear I won't call no copper if I'm beat up by my papa.
Bessie could command an audience and make them feel. She did this with dynamics and power and tone. And although this may have been what Billie originally wanted to go for, she had a lighter voice. She did what became a feature of her career, taking a perceived limitation and turning it into a strength. She made a feature of that lighter sound, playing with the fragility of her upper range and using it to contrast with the darker sounds of her lower range.
What if the rain comes pattering down? My heaven is blue. Tennessee is sending me Emily Brown. Miss Brown.
She has a nasality in that mid-range from which most singers would shy away. It's direct and in your face, and although it isn't loud, it hits you right between the eyes. But she's masterful at playing with that. She always softens the edge by either sliding off the note, adding breath, or adding vibrato. As she gets older, these textures become more distinct, with each register taking on a separate quality. The upper head voice becomes more thin, more fragile, the mid-range becomes more nasal, more brave and direct, and that lower range becomes warmer and lower and huskier.
If you can forget, don't worry about me.
Most people think of Billie Holiday as having a really small range, and this is partly true. She generally only uses within an octave in any one song. However, her strong mixed voice from her early days suggests that this isn't because she couldn't. It's because she chose to, certainly at that point in her vocal development. She chose expression as her primary focus. Of course, as she got older, her voice did lower, it did lose its range. However, I don't think this was ever a worry for Billie. It was never the most important thing for her.
Ain't nobody's business if I do.
Billie Holiday doesn't always sing on time, which people often have firm opinions about, but I kind of love it. To me, it gives a feeling of ease and nonchalance. Now, I'm going to play you a clip and you'll hear that the band is driving that rhythm, try and tap along, and you'll feel that she's just behind the beat.
I jumped out of the frying pan and right into the fire when I lost me a cheating man and got a no.
She pushes and pulls that rhythm so much it shouldn't be correct, but yet it feels so right. And this behind the beat feeling influenced countless singers, including Frank Sinatra, and she was doing it at 17.
I've lived a life that's full traveled each and every highway, and more than this.
Billie doesn't follow traditional technique. After all, she's self-taught. However, she is incredibly intuitive and relaxed, avoiding physical tension, relaxing her jaw and her tongue, and breathing in a natural way.
Sometimes when you think it's on, baby, it has turned off.
Her soft palate position comes from her speaking voice, which results in that fragility in the upper range as she doesn't adjust for higher notes. However, that just adds to her expression. Although she sounds like she has some vocal damage in her later years, this easy and relaxed technique points to me that this isn't because of her singing style and more to do with her lifestyle. Billie wasn't interested in the correct way of singing, but more what felt right. And there's a lot to be said for that. This attitude allowed her to sing in a way that felt good in her body, and therefore was healthy, whilst maintaining that unique natural tone. Billie was a person who went through some incredibly traumatic things in her life, and this came through in her singing. She was in touch with her emotions, expressed fearlessly, and adapted her expression on any given day dependent on the audience and just how she felt. However, I'm going to touch on some technical aspects that helped her express those emotions. Improvisation is a massive feature of her singing. Billie learned to sing by working in nightclubs in Harlem, singing at tables and improvising melodies as she went. Unlike other singers of her era like Ella Fitzgerald, Billie doesn't scat unless she's showing other band members what she'd like them to play. She loved lyrics and focused her improvisation around them. Billie is well known for her version of I Loves You Porgy from Porgy and Bess. Here is the original melody from the opera.
I love you, Porgy. Don't let him take me. Don't let him handle me and drive me mad.
Ella Fitzgerald also did a version, which is in a lower key and still has that jazzy style, which is more stylistically similar to Billie's, yet she also stays pretty true to that original melody.
Oh, I love you, Porgy. Don't let him take me. Don't let him handle me and drive me mad.
Let's listen to what Billie does. I'm going to play 3 different versions from throughout her career, and you can hear her vocal development over the years and also how much she plays around with melody. Instead of molding her voice around a song, she molds the melody around her own emotion and expression. She also changes it to I love you, Porgy, to make it more true to how she would naturally say it.
I love you, Porgy. Don't take me. Don't let him handle me and drive me. I love you, Porgy. Don't let him take me. Don't let him handle me and drive me mad. If you can keep me.
Billie has a fast, fluttery vibrato that she uses to soften her tone. It's used sometimes to give a feeling of drive and energy, and at others, it sounds as if she's on the edge of crying.
I took a trip on the train and I thought about you.
At the time, it had become a really classic, stylistic jazz nuance for jazz singers like Bessie Smith to slide up onto a note instead of hitting them directly. But what does Billie Holiday do? She takes it further. Instead of just sliding up, she slides back down and flips between her head and chest voice until it's almost a yodel. It gives the effect of a voice that could crack at any moment. It echoes the way our voice reacts in emotional situations.
Weep for me.
Her dynamics are small. She prefers to use tonal changes to add texture rather than dynamics. However, although they are small, they are constant. Each note has a feeling of movement to it.
She tells her side, nothing to hide.
Although people associate distortion with Billie, she doesn't use it very much in her early years, only to add expression on certain notes, but it does sneak into her voice more and more as she gets older. The cause of distortion is when something disrupts even vibrations from healthy vocal cords, causing them to become irregular. We hear that sound as distortion, as noise. And although to a lot of people it sounds unhealthy, if done correctly, it's normally fine. It's the breathiness and the huskiness in her voice where she's not trying to put on distortion, which points to her vocal health. However, instead of using to hide a flaw, in this case vocal damage, she leans into the sound it creates and uses it to make us feel.
I ain't gonna just sit around and cry. I know I won't die.
I wanted to touch on this because I find singers' speaking voices so interesting, and even more so with Billie because she didn't train in any way and therefore sings with much of the vocal tract, tongue and jaw posture that she does when she speaks. So I want you to listen to this clip of an interview with Billie and don't really listen to what she's saying, but how she's saying it.
Well, to me, jazz is good music and a good feeling. And I'd like to say that everybody can play jazz, and no one person created. I think you just have to have it in you.
You can hear how she naturally uses the articulation, the slides, the nasality, flipping between her head and chest voice until it's almost a yodel. It's all there in her speaking voice. Billie's flaws were her greatest strength. In her earlier years, she was often asked to sing differently to fit in with a more acceptable style. In fact, it's even reported that she was fired from the Count Basie Orchestra for refusing to sing differently. As she ages, her style becomes more and more defiant. She takes those features that people tried to get rid of and makes more of them. The distortion, the nasality, the behind the beat feel. Every note has a texture, an adaptation, a meaning.
Sometimes when you think it's on, baby, it has turned off and gone.
You can't talk about Billie Holiday without talking about the effect her music has had on the wider world. Now, Billie chose songs because they challenged opinions and explored the darker emotions that humans feel, so they're all quite important songs. But I want to touch on something that we haven't heard yet, something that had a huge social impact.
Southern trees.
I can't put it all here because of copyright, but I suggest you pause this video and go and listen to the 1959 version of Strange Fruit. The song is provocative and grotesque and dark, but it's something that I think everyone should listen to. I'll have lots to tell you when you get back. Strange Fruit was originally a poem written by Abel Meeropol as a protest after seeing a picture of a lynching that occurred in the south of America. As an amateur musician, he set it to music. He is a really interesting man. I could make an entire video on him, so I suggest you go look him up. There are many different reports as to how Billie first heard this song. However, she decided to sing it as she said the imagery reminded her of her father's death, who died of a lung condition after being denied treatment on account of his race. Once she did perform it, she realised how important it was, how it connected with people. Her original producer refused to produce it, but eventually Commodore Records did. And this song's still making its mark today. It made headlines a few years back when Donald Trump asked Rebecca Ferguson, the British singer, to sing at his inauguration. She responded, "If you allow me to sing Strange Fruit, a song that has huge historical importance, a song that was blacklisted for being too controversial, a song that speaks to all the disregarded and downtrodden black people in the United States, a song that is a reminder of how love is the only thing that will conquer all the hatred in this world, then I will graciously accept your invitation and see you in Washington." He did not accept. As someone who has never had to personally deal with racial injustice, I will never fully understand what it feels like to live with. But listening to Billie's delivery of Strange Fruit takes me beyond the realm of intellectual understanding and into the realm of feeling. It makes me feel uncomfortable, but that's not a bad thing. Progress doesn't come from apathy and comfort. It embodies a terrible history and helps us understand the pain inflicted, but reminds us that we still have far to go. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do like and subscribe. I, as per usual, have to give a big thanks to my patrons. These longer form videos would not be happening if it wasn't for them. So big thanks. If you would like to check out my Patreon, you can. Patreon.com/Beth Roars. And see you in the next one. Bye.
Vibrato.